Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, I want to talk to you about 21 survival hacks for socks. Stay tuned. I've often said that if I could only take one piece of clothing with me in a survival situation, it would be an extra pair of socks. Socks have so many uses, and of course, taking care of your feet is of utmost importance when you're out in the backcountry. Without being able to move and get about, you're going to be stuck, and it's going to be very hard to affect survival. So let's get into those 21 uses for your socks right now. One of the first and most useful items that you'll have for your socks is as an improvised pair of mittens. These can really keep your hands warm. And of course, if you're packing wool socks or if they're mostly wool, you're going to find that they're going to do a great job keeping your hands much warmer, and that way you don't have to carry gloves. You can just have your pair of socks with you. Following along with that same idea, it also makes an excellent pot holder. So if you're worried about your pot being too hot to touch, cooking over a fire, you just need to grab it and pull it off. Having an extra sock with you is just super handy. Another item that you can use your socks for is as a stuff sack. In here I just have a couple of extra t-shirts, but you could stuff anything in here that you want. Anything you don't want rattling around. You could put an extra pair of pants, whatever you wish. But this is going to hold really nice, and depending on the size of your feet and the size of your socks, you can actually get quite a bit in here. This also solves another problem that we have while we're in the backcountry. If you're like me, I'm pretty broad-shouldered, and so when I lay down at night, I really need some sort of a pillow. And if I lay on my arm, it goes to sleep and it wakes me up. And even though I have a jacket or a fleece on, I don't want to take it off because I want to stay warm at night when I'm sleeping. So if I have this along with me, something stuffed in it, I can actually use this as a pillow. Now, if I'm wearing all my layers and I don't have anything inside of here, like any extra t-shirts or pants, I can always stuff this with dry leaves and grasses to make an improvised pillow. Again, really, really useful. You can also use this as an improvised bottle cozy. Now, this is only about an 18 or 20 ounce bottle, but these are actually stretchy enough that I can put a full quart bottle in here. That's going to do a couple of things. First of all, it's going to help keep my water from freezing in really cold weather. It's going to insulate it. The other thing it's going to do is if I want to boil water, warm it up, and then put it inside of this sock, I can then stick it inside of my sleeping bag next to me, and it's going to help keep me warm at night. If you don't want to use your water bottle, you can also stuff the sock with rocks. Sometimes we call them happy rocks because they make you happy at night because they're warm. And of course, you don't want those hot rocks next to your body or next to your skin. Sometimes it could burn you, plus they're kind of rough usually. So you can actually put those warmed up rocks, put them next to your fire, and then slip them into your sock, and that'll help you keep warm at night. Another effective use for your socks in a survival situation is as a collection device for nuts and berries and other wild edibles. Now, we don't always have an extra bag or sack with us, but a pair of socks or a single sock will do just fine. Now, what I have in here are acorns. Now, acorns are edible. A lot of people don't realize that because they're so bitter because of all the tannins in there, and so there's sort of a myth going around that they're poisonous. Well, they're not. As a matter of fact, our ancestors used to harvest and process acorns, and it was a main staple of their diet for thousands of years. As a matter of fact, there is more nutrition in an acre of oak trees than there is in an acre of corn. I have a video on how to process acorns, and I use the cold process, which is putting them in a flowing stream. I'll make sure and put a link to it right up here. You can also boil them in multiple changes of water, and that's also effective. Of course, having the sock makes that whole process so much easier and so much more effective, as it keeps all of the nut meat together and allows you to boil it either in the sock or lay it in the stream and process that, and it keeps the crawdads and bugs and helps filter out some of the turbidity and such while you're processing your food. Sometimes when we're out in the backcountry or you're in an urban environment and you're concerned for your safety, you're looking around for something that you could use in case you would get attacked or just as something as a deterrent. Well, if you have something like this, of course these are the acorns, but you could put any kind of stones or rocks or chips of asphalt. You could fill it with spare change from your car even, tie a knot in it, and you have a really good blunt force trauma weapon. Again, maybe just a deterrent, something that's got a bit of a handle. You can swing it, get a little bit of power going there, and this is just another really great use for a survival sock. Another effective use for your socks in a survival situation is to lash together a quick tripod. And it's going to hold together and it's going to work really well. Another effective use in a survival situation for a sock is as an improvised tourniquet, just a single half hitch. Then we're going to take a stick for a windlass. We're going to insert it in there, make sure it's got some tension on it. Then we begin to twist until it gets to the right amount of tension. You can really feel that putting pressure on. Then you can either lash it in place with the rest of the sock, or you could use some paracord or something else to hold that in place. But that's going to work really well as an improvised tourniquet in a survival situation. You can also use a folded up sock for an improvised wound pad. So again, if you need something that's going to soak up an injury, something that perhaps has a little bit of bleeding to it, or just to put pressure on a wound, it's a great first aid item, and it's something extra you can carry along with you as a multi-use item. If your socks are brightly colored like these are, and I will recommend getting some orange ones as your spare pair, they are a great signaling device. Help! Help! You can see that from the air a long ways away or across a mountain ridge. If you're signaling for search and rescue, it really adds to the visibility. If you're out and about and your neck gets cold, or you're concerned about getting a sore throat or wanting to protect this part of your anatomy, you can knot one end together, bring it around the front, and it makes a really great improvised neck warmer or neck gaiter. If you're in a survival situation long enough, your hair is going to grow out. Now, some of the ladies, they already have pretty long hair, and maybe you need some sort of a hair tie. Well, you can always use something like this. You could tie it up, of course, to a ponytail. There's different kinds of buns that ladies make using socks. And of course, if you want to use it for that, you can also make a pretty good sweatband. As you can see, around the head, it's big enough. And of course, you want to make sure you get a long sock if you're going to do something like this. Another problem that we have in a survival situation is sometimes it's difficult to sleep at night. Of course, it's a lot colder at night, and there's a lot of sounds, a lot of things that can disturb you. The night is very long, whether it's thirst or hunger or an uncomfortable bed. Whatever it may be, it can be very difficult sometimes to sleep at night, and you get just a few hours of very restless sleep, if that. Plus, you're always waking up to stoke the fire and add wood. So sometimes it's good to be able to take a nap in the afternoon. Well, not everybody can sleep in bright daylight. So having some extra socks, really great idea. You put it around your eyes and just simply tie it off, and that's going to provide you with an eye mask so you can sleep better and get some rest in the middle of the day. Sometimes in a survival situation there can be a forest fire, something like that, and you need something to help filter out the smoke so you can breathe easier. A pair of socks can do a good job. Again, you could put it across the nose, keep your mouth shut, and you can wear it like this, and plus it just kind of looks cool. Sometimes when you're in a survival situation, you're in snow or deep sand, and there's just no good way to stake out or guy out your tarp or tent shelter. And so you can use a sock for what's known as a dead man's anchor. And what you do is you fill this either with rocks or sand or snow or ice, whatever you wish, and you bury this down underneath the surface, covered all over around the top, and then you can attach your guy lines to this, and that's going to hold really securely, even in pretty heavy winds. As a matter of fact, in snowy conditions, you're going to have to dig this back out. It'll actually freeze down into the ground. You can also use a sock as an ice pack or cold compress. Say someone is feverish, or you just want to mop their face and try to help them cool down. Well, you can wet this, of course, fan a little bit in the air. That evaporative cooling is going to cool it down, and then you can put it on their forehead, and if you've ever had a fever, you know how great that feels. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate this next one, but you can use a sock in a survival situation as an improvised diaper or a maxi pad. Of course, you get out in the backcountry and you have some sort of an issue, maybe you get diarrhea or whatever, but anyway, you need some sort of a diaper. Maybe you have a young child along and you run out of disposables. Well, you can use a sock. Now, you might have to slit it open. It could destroy the sock to do that, cut it down both sides or whatever, or just open it up. But anyway, usually with 2 socks there's enough, and that's going to give you a little bit of absorbency for that kind of situation. The other item that you can use this for is as a wash pad or a dish rag. So either to wash and clean yourself or for your pots and pans and silverware, whatever you wish. This works really great for that. Of course, if you are soiled, perhaps you do want to take a bath and clean up, you can use this to wash yourself. And of course, this could be used for toilet paper. You would definitely want to rinse it out and then boil it to get all the germs out of it. But you could use this very effectively for that. You could even store your soap inside of here, and that would work well also. Another use for these is you can slip them on your boots. They're probably not going to go all the way on, but up to about the heel area. And this is going to provide a lot of extra traction. If you're in snow or you're crossing a creek or a stream and the rocks are wet and slippery, it's a lot better than just wet rubber. It's going to provide a lot of grip. Finally, you can slip this over your water bottle and it acts as an excellent pre-filter. So when you put this down in a creek or stream and you put it, of course, facing downstream, it kind of helps limit the amount of turbidity. Of course, this way a lot of that's going to come in, so you want to face it downstream. The water's going this way. The water can come back in this direction, so you're going to get a lot less dirt and junk in there. But this is a really great pre-filter. And here's a bonus one for you. If you want to do like some of the hobos did, they would actually put their coffee in here and boil their coffee in a sock. A clean one, of course, we hope. But that was something that they did. Of course, cowboy coffee, where you just put the grounds in. A lot of people do that. But the hobos were also known to use socks and their handkerchiefs to boil their coffee in. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. And while you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link. And this is where you can sign up to take survival and bushcraft classes here at our beautiful training facility in Southern Ohio. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos. And we'll talk to you next time.